11 a.m. Here we are, 11 a.m.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Tony Geraci and Dave Finale talking to you. We're live on Facebook right this second. I just checked my computer.
There we go.
So welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for watching today. And it's Dave and Tony here again, our second broadcast of Real Estate Leaders with Tony Geraci. And we appreciate you taking the time to watch this live or recorded whenever you're watching that. So today, the topics that we're going to tackle and talk about today are clarity for business, habits for real estate agents, focus, daily rituals, and daily work life. So all important topics. But one of the why I mentioned it first is just clarity for business. So Dave, what's your take, on clarity for business, on how important it is to start your career in real estate and or continue to do well and succeed in real estate?
Well, I think one of the important things, Tony, is that we know what we're doing and why we're doing it. Now, okay, so we think we're getting into the real estate business, we're getting into our own business, and that's one thing you need to be clear on, that it is your own business, that you are an individual and you are independent, right?
Right.
So you got to make sure that we know that and we understand that, and that we need to be able to get what we need out of it. What is that? That's training, that's coaching, that's support, as well as knowing what we want to get personally out of it. So having a clarity of why you want to get into this business.
Sure.
And that there's a wide range of reasons for that.
Right. No, every agent I talk to has a reason why. It could be something of helping people, because I really, been in the business 27 years. I really feel we help people with one of the largest decision, if not the largest decision they're going to make financially, but not just financially. This is their home. This is their family. This is an important, everybody, I think almost everybody, where you live and with your family or yourself, if you're single, is an important decision. It's where you work, where you grew up, where you're going to live for a long time. So I see that a lot in agents, that they get into this business because they want to really help people. But then there's some agents that are I'm looking for something to start part-time and try to get into it full-time. They're trying to get into some industry that could be an easy in, but they have to be clear on what they really want to accomplish to be successful. So wouldn't you say that you have to be clear on what your goals are to be successful in real estate? Yeah,
it has to be. I mean, there's a lot of people coming back to the workforce. It could be men, it could be women, from starting a family or, whatever. And, it could be that they like houses. It could be that, they like, helping people, as you said.
Right.
But it's all about, they I don't know whether they want to make money or will they make money, and how do they make money? And honestly, Tony, in my experiences, anyone that came in from the aspect of getting back to the workforce that just wanted to try real estate, we see those a lot.
Right.
As a broker owner, I never wanted someone to say I wanted to try it, and because I always wanted to say, well, I'm going to try to help you. You can't try. I mean, the thing is that eventually what happens is you get a bug when you get into it, if it's going to be for you, and you want more and more and more. It's like it's like that snowball effect when you get into this business, and then it begins. The real reason as we move forward is accomplishment. Where can you go? What level can you get? Maybe even how much money you can make.
Right. And what I've found too is where I feel social media is helping new agents or agents that are just trying to better themselves, is when they're seeing other agents and their success and the happiness of their clients. I'm seeing a lot more agents posting on their social network pictures of happy clients. And some are actually starting doing quick interviews with their clients and posting to the social network about how happy their clients are. Because I found with some of the new agents, we bring on about 30, 35 new agents every year. And sometimes in your first transaction or two are tough. And I'm walking them through that, and I have to tell them, don't worry, you're going to get over it. You're going to have a good one. You're going to have clients and that have a great sale and have a good experience, because there's so many people involved in a sale. So it could ruin your clarity. After a horrible transaction, a horrible deal with another agent or a seller or a buyer could really lose your focus of why you're in this business. So sometimes I have to be a cheerleader to agents daily, just to let them know there are people that are going to be thankful out there. There are going to be transactions where everybody's so happy that they sold and they bought, and keep that clarity and keep that focus. Well, you see that too with agents you've worked with?
Yeah, all the time. I think the thing that when I was a broker owner, I think my biggest fault, the biggest mistake I made was thinking I knew how to get new agents started and where to put them. And we're always going to say the best place to start is to work with people you know, and I will still continue to say that. However, with the advent of social media, like you just said, there are people out there that didn't think much about a real estate career years ago. Then they saw how well they could crush it on social media,
right,
and got into it and say, wow, I can make a good buck here, enjoy what I'm doing because this stuff is easy. Right. So I come full circle back to social media for getting a new agent started. If an agent, the biggest mistake that we make, I believe that me as a broker, I can't speak for all other broker owners,
sure,
but I can speak for me as an owner that mistakes that I made was not getting them to market themselves immediately and having their marketing set up immediately. Yes, go make your list of your sphere of influence. Go do this, go do this. Learn how to write out this form. Screw the forms if you're a new agent. Go out and get customers, whether it's open houses or setting up Facebook ads. And I know, there's a couple bucks to spend there, but you're in your own business. You're independent. If you start there, you will start faster. My opinion.
I agree with exactly the same thing with agents is out there, but you have to make sure, I also make sure you have the backing and the expertise and the mentor or the broker, the manager, the team leader. You have to have the people behind you. So if you're a new agent and you have all of those people behind you that are going to support you and help train you and help you walk through, get out there, get in front of people, get on social media, go find the business, and you have the mentor and the backing behind you. But also the next topic is like habits for real estate agents. So new and or experienced habits. What kind of, what would be the number one or a couple of habits that you would suggest to agents, no matter if they're successful already, because they might be successful, without knowing what to do habit-wise daily, or new. Well, what are your suggestions?
Well, I think agents that have been in other businesses, other jobs, know that there's habits they have to have in those jobs, and when they went to work, there were things expected of them. Right now, the habit we have to understand. The first off is that if we don't do the work, nobody's going to do it for us. For the most part. Not yet, right? We're not ready to scale until we start getting some business. And we have to realize that we have to have discipline and focus, right? I know focus was the next thing to talk about, but I want to put it together. So self-discipline is the hardest thing in the world to have, and a lot of us have it, because basically in real estate business, we are our own boss.
Oh, definitely.
And if our boss sucks, our business is going to suck. Right.
And I see it. That's a great point, because I've seen agents that that have had other jobs, other careers, and that's a good question. I'm sorry, I'm off topic here.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
Tangent is that I got to ask that question. What do you think a good boss is? I got to do that. I'm going to put that in my interview with agents. What do you think a good boss is? Because if you're saying good bosses, well, they're very flexible with my time. I could show up late. I could take days off. I could take breaks whenever I want. They're not looking over my shoulder. If they're saying stuff like that, then I don't know if they're going to be a good boss for themselves.
No, they're going to suck as a boss. They're going to suck as a boss. Let's face it, most real estate agents, if you ask them the 5 main things, the reasons they got into the real estate business, they're going to say 2 things are going to be there. 1, I can set my own hours, and 2, I can make as much money as I want to. Well, if you've done research in your MLSs and what the production is, you'll find that 80% of those people don't want to work because they don't want to make any money, because it's obvious they're not making any money. Right? So the thing is that if you really truly want to make money, you really have to look at it as a job
Mm-hmm.
until you decide whether you like it or not. And then you can go crazy with it.
Yeah, so that's where the habits come in. You have to have a daily habit. I mean, obviously, it could be a little bit when things happen throughout the day with transactions and calls coming in, but you have to have habits. You have to have just like a job, like you said with the boss. You have to show up and to work and do the work. So what you got to tell yourself what you're going to work, and that's where we're always going to hit on the number one thing of prospecting is the number one thing of work. You have to schedule that throughout your day. You have to have a habit of prospecting. And of course, if agents or anybody has a past job that they had tasks that they had to get through a day, but they didn't have specific hours, like you work 9 to 5, but you have to get these things done. Yeah, I guess you could be flexible with your schedule, but you have to have what are your tasks? And again, prospecting is the number one thing to have a habit of doing daily. That's right. Your boss yourself should be telling you that you have to go find new business or connect with people. What do you think?
Exactly. I mean, when you look at the habits that you must form and the focus you must have, it's got an awful lot to do with getting business and prospecting. Right. I mean, I talk about, and the next thing we're going to talk about, if it's okay if I move into that with this, is daily ritual. I talk about ritual all the time. Some people, I mean, they have a routine, but I talk about ritual, and the end part of that is your prospecting and how much time you're going to put in. Focus is so important. We just hit upon that. And I use the word discipline, self-discipline. What I do every day, which has really served me very, very well, and I've been doing it for more than a year now, is I get up in the morning, I have some quiet time to myself. I read a page of a journal that I read. It talks about that builds self-esteem, honestly, being 100% transparent here. And then I work on, my feeling of self-esteem and what I have to do that day and talk about and think about. You can call it meditation. You can call it whatever you want.
Right.
After that's done, I go into my gratitude journal, my affirmations, then I work out. This can be different for everybody, but I do this every day. Right. I do this every day, and it gets me going for the day, and I roll into it. I'm really going for the whole day. What it's done for me is it's made me a hell of a lot more productive. I'm working more now by myself than I did when I had a big company.
Right. No, I see it too. I have a daily ritual myself. I get up. I get up within 15, 20 minutes of when I'm supposed to get up. I know every once in a while I hit that snooze for 9 minutes. And why is snooze 9 minutes? I don't know. And I can never change it. I don't know. That's crazy. But I think it's because they want to make sure you don't spend too much time snoozing. But and I'm at the gym every morning. So to any agent that's calling me anywhere between 7 and 9 o'clock, I'm at the gym. But I'm working too. I'm watching if there's any emergencies and letting people know. But I have a ritual that I go and a routine, and that's I do, and get in the office and get the day started. So a daily routine and keeping focused on that routine is important. And we don't realize that we've always had a routine, especially if you had a 9 to 5 job. It just was forced upon you. You have to be at work from 9 to 5.
Right. That's routine.
And then I have another, the other kind of something else I always remind agents of saving money when we're talking about their business planning. I said, you're forced to save or give away 25% of your money every year or more, and that's taxes, but we're forced to do it. So I said, you can save money. It's just, can you do it? Because when you're forced to do it, when someone else says you're forced to give us this, you do it. When you're forced to go to work 9 to 5 because you have to make money, but we're probably getting the point we're making here is that when you get into real estate and you are your own boss, and if your boss doesn't make you or force you to do things, you might miss out on things.
I think I need to go to a place where some people may not like it, and that place is there's a 4-letter word that people don't want to consider themselves when they're not doing the work they should be. It's called lazy. And a lot of people say, well, don't use that word. That's not fair. Look, I am anything but politically correct. And I want to say that if you're a shitty boss, if you're a bad boss, you're going to be lazy because nobody's going to be pushing you, right? You're going to push yourself. And that's where the ritual and the routine come in. Now, into prospecting, I certainly believe and completely believe that 8 to 11 is your prime prospecting time. Now, if depending on what avenue of prospecting you're using, whether if you're cold calling, God forbid, if you're door knocking, God forbid, if you're doing those things, well, 8 to 11 might not work.
Right.
I'm a big believer in time blocks and putting that together in a schedule. I don't believe that time management is possible. I do believe that blocking your time and having non-negotiable times to do certain things is possible. I don't think it's managing time. I think it's more or less working with yourself and being a good boss to get things done. And we can work with lists there or anything else.
Right.
But that's the time you should be prospecting, whatever prospecting you're going to do.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, prospecting could be all different avenues, especially with social media. It could be first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning, people are up, they're getting up, they're there. You could be prospecting. You could be commenting on things that people are doing on their social media. You could be sending people instant messages. Text messages or calls are kind of hard first thing in the morning because that's going right to someone's phone. And at the end of the night. And then so the social networking, which is great, can be done at later hours. This is not 25, 30 years ago when we had a time to call people, which was, we did. I remember my first training class. You should be making calls here because people are getting home from work and then they're going to eat dinner and then they'll be sitting on the couch by 6:30, 7 o'clock before primetime TV and the news come on. So call between 7 and 9. And you have a 2-hour window to prospect. That's it. And there was the one option. One way was the phone. Now there's you're prospecting on steroids now with social media, everything, text message, everything that's available to you to communicate with people.
But Tony, how long ago was that schedule? How long ago did you do that schedule?
Oh, that was when I first was in real estate in the mid 90s.
Years ago, right? Exactly.
Yeah, it's just.
And you hit the nail on the head. And I want to add a little bit to what you had said. Social media prospecting is what you said and is the best thing to do first thing in the morning because maybe you don't want to call somebody at 8 o'clock. I'm telling you, you can do that. That's fine. That's really good. But there's a method that I learned from a very, very good friend of mine, Ryan Hodge, called Facebook A to Z. Now, if you take your sphere of influence, and your sphere of influence, folks, just so if you didn't know, is your family, your friends, your acquaintances, your service people. Add to that your past customers, your current customers, and your future customers. Well, those are leads that you may not have connected with yet, that you haven't spoken with. You put them together, and you've got them all as your friends on Facebook.
Right.
Use Facebook Messenger and start on the first day of the month at A. And you know what? Do 10 a day. If you have lots, if you have 300, do 10 a day.
Right.
And just come up with a message you're going to say to everybody. It's either hello, how you doing, or talking about the weather, or it's an apology. Hey, sorry, I haven't been in touch for a while. Or another good one is if it's a lead, it's, are you still looking to buy a home?
Right. And if you see, when you're on Facebook, and not to pick on one social network, but and you see people on their Facebook doing things and posting pictures or making comments, you can see what they're doing. They're active right now. Go after them. You saw they just posted something 20 minutes ago about something that's going on in their lives.
Exactly.
They're active now. They're ready to communicate. They're asking to be communicated with by someone out there. It doesn't have to be business, but you're making a connection. So
let's be really clear, Tony. Let's be really clear. You don't have to be salesy in any of your messages or your commenting. It's communication relational, right?
But again, keep track of that. And then if that's in a good CRM of when you're out there making a comment on someone's social media, and then now go back into your contact management system and now put when I'm going to actually reach out to those people to make a business call and ask for a referral, see if they need anything. So that's a way for you because they just talked to you or saw you make a comment and you replied to you a week ago and you made a follow-up call business-wise the next week. So you just got to be social business, and just have to weigh that.
Exactly. And honestly, I think the less salesy you are, the better, especially today's day and age. I mean, No one wants to be sold. Let's face it. They want to work with someone they know, like, and trust. And if you start talking about, like, one of your messages could be, if you haven't spoken to them, or if they're a new client, or you just got into the business, it could be, hey, it's Dave. I just want to tell you, I just made a change in my professional life. I now work in real estate. So if you know anybody I can help, or I can help you, let me know. That's asking, but it's asking for help. It's not asking for a referral. Completely different. We're talking about help. And that's the way of the talk of today, not 10 years ago.
And also, I saw, have you ever seen the graph of like when most people are on social media? I don't have it handy. I should have brought that. But I remember seeing that, obviously mornings, evenings, but there was this point between 2 and 3 o'clock was high for people looking at their social media. I don't know if it's like midday, they're getting tired, they're at their other jobs, they're at they had lunch, whatever. But around the mid-afternoon, 2 or 3 o'clock, I remember seeing that this was a time where a lot of people are on their social media looking around. So you don't have to wait for first thing in the morning or late at night. So that mid-afternoon could be another time for you to just jump on there for 20 minutes, half hour, see what's going on, and comment on a few people.
Yeah, well, mid-afternoon is always the time when people have had lunch. They come back and they start getting solid. It's time for that afternoon coffee break or whatever. They didn't eat properly for lunch, or they didn't eat well. They didn't eat anything, so they're tired. So that's the time they're going to go.
I think we see it is that people out there that the old smoke breaks are turned into social network breaks. So they're taking a break from work. Maybe that's the break time of the afternoon for a lot of people at their other jobs and they're taking their social media break, and that's a good time to connect with them. So.
Sure, and relating that back to focus, which is what we started talking about. I want to relate that back. Is look, as human beings, we can get caught up with social media. We can get caught up in that Facebook vortex. We can get caught into that, and it could turn us into those 3 o'clock people hanging out on Facebook. And the next thing we know, it's 4 o'clock.
Right.
Well, here's the way to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
You go to your phone and you say, hey, Siri, give me a 9-minute countdown.
Right.
Okay, 9 minutes and counting.
Awesome.
So with your phone, in 9 minutes, you've given yourself 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, you got to stop.
Right.
And that's being a good boss.
And also, I know when I got my new iPhone a couple of months ago, but I didn't activate it, but it'll track what your screen, your screen time and what you're doing and what you're on. So if you really want to track what you're really doing, are you on your email? Are you searching the internet? Are you on Facebook? Or what are you? You'll get a report daily, weekly of like how much time you are spending on your phone and on certain things on your phone. So that's a good tracker for anybody that gets lost in social media or lost on their phone.
Right, and I've seen some others, and Siri will say, "Well, you spent 10% less time today than yesterday."
Right. Yeah, I catch that myself at night. I'm like, I'm going to go to bed by 11 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock, 10:30, I'm getting on social media or something. Next thing you know, it's midnight. I'm like, how did that happen? I just it comes into void. So, what do we think about daily work life, and what's your most important tip or thought about that for all agents?
I think there's a lot of things that come involved with daily work, daily life, people talk about life work balance. It depends on what you love. It depends on who you're involved with as far as personally, socially, and professionally on what you're involved with. Now, look, my daily work life, as an individual person, as an individual business owner, is I work on my own. I work by myself. Yes, I am affiliated with a real estate company. So what I've decided to do is I need to go there twice a week and spend most of the day there just so I can get the interaction and stay on top of my game. Your daily work life is what's going to work for you. And just remember that you do need interaction with people, whether it's socially or professionally. You just need to figure out what is good for you. And if someone was to say like a partner or a spouse or an adult friend would say to you, well, maybe you should try this, or you're just a good friend of yours. Right. Listen, be open to listening, because your work life is going to relate to your happiness, which is going to relate to your motivation, which is going to relate to your income producing activities,
Right.
because you like what you're doing. That makes sense?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there's always a good balance, but balance could be it's all relative to the individual.
It is.
You know, a lot of us are stuck with get up in the morning, do activity, go to work, come home, eat dinner, do that. We're in this schedule, but it doesn't have to be like that if that's not the balance that you're doing. And then, of course, for all of us that have families, and actually, I have my two sons are they're finally, both of them are going to be both in college starting this next week, actually. So I'm like a half empty nester.
Right.
So with less, when you have a family, younger kids, so a lot of the agents that are getting into the business and have the whole family, I know there's curveballs all day long on taking up that daily balance and that ritual. You try to balance it, but it's so hard to balance. So I understand that. You have to find a way to target time so you don't feel. I mean, if I don't get what I want to accomplish for at the end of the day, I'm in a bad mood. You know, I want to accomplish. My rituals got to stay pretty consistent, or at least task oriented. So if you're that one of those people, you have to figure out a way to handle those curveballs with your family, friends, things in your life, so you could get your work done. Because if your work doesn't get done and the money doesn't come in and you're not successful to the level you want, I know that affects your everything underneath. Or at least for me it is. If I don't get my things done, I don't accomplish what I want to accomplish. My attitude changes, things change, and it affects everybody more negatively in my life. So that's where the rituals are important, that I feel.
Yes, it all has to do with your support mechanism at home and at work and socially. And people say, well, what do you need support for socially? Well, you do, because I believe everyone needs to have, time off or whatever. But here's the other thing that people can get annoyed with as time goes on is all you talk about is what you do. Well,
Right.
guess what? If you love what you do and it's interesting to you and people are willing to talk to you about it, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
People go, I want to disconnect, or people say to me, Dave, maybe you should read a book that has nothing to do with business. Why? That's what I love to do.
Right, exactly.
I mean, look, I got this one. I got this one. I've got 10 books I want to read before the end of the month. Will I do it? No. But you know what? I carry them with me and I read a little bit all the time. That's what I love. I mean, I love talking about my business. And I love helping people. So they all work hand in hand, and your support system's important to have.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And then also when we talk about what we do, remember, and I see it in myself sometimes, is that when you're around, especially your sphere, you forget your other people, your friends, your family, your sphere. You can't complain about it all the time. That has a negative effect on your business. So if you're out there talking to other friends, relatives, I know we all have things that happen day to day with transactions and clients that we're not happy about. But if you continually to talk to people around you, that's all you talk about. You don't talk about the good stuff and why you love it, why you stay in it. They're going to go, wow, he or she doesn't really enjoy what they do. And then they might not recommend you to someone, or they might just not think, like, I don't want to, send this client to them or that, or you're not on top of their mind when things come up, because they're like, they're always complaining about what they do. So watch I guess that is, in your daily ritual, or your focus on the positive things. And also when you're talking to other agents, we all see it, and I'm sure you've seen it in your office in the past, is that when you get a group of agents together, usually the first topics that come out are complaining about a transaction or something that's happening. That's first, the negative first. So watch, because then other agents like, well, I don't want to deal with that agent because they're always negative. So
I think the best advice for that kind of thing is to tell any agent, especially a new agent, walk away from the negativity, because we can produce it ourselves if we really want to. We don't need anybody's help being negative, because it does nothing for our self-esteem. It does nothing for our feeling of abundance and stuff. It just takes away from it. And I don't need it myself. And I try to walk away from it And I want to put myself in a position of positivity.
Oh, definitely.
You know, I know when I talk about saying, talking about your business all the time, I don't mean you're actually going to do that. I mean, it's going to come up in conversation and someone's going to ask you a question. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Talk really positive. You're excited about it.
Right.
Man, be really excited. You're focused on it. It's really cool to do it.
Definitely. Well, we're hitting that half-hour mark, so I just wanted to kind of go over what our topics for next week will be, and we're going to have a special guest, Mike Ferrante with the 21 Mike team will be joining us next week, and we're going to be going over. We're going to go goals and commitments. Begin with the end in mind. Tie it all to what you are doing and why. Share and dominant focus. So is that anything else in those topics we're going to hit next week, Dave?
No, I think we may not even get to everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of topics.
A lot of topics. We might have to just go with goals and commitments because I can go on and on and on and on for that.
Right.
But anyway, but this is a great thing. I think we had some really good, I think when we started talking about clarity, I think we got a lot of clarity in for agents as to, things they can look at, things they can look inside themselves to do a much better job at their business and their personal life.
Exactly. So again, everybody have clarity of business, be focused, have a daily ritual, be excited about what you're going to accomplish for the day. If you're not excited about what you're every day of getting up and doing what you love to do, you got to make sure you're focused on what excites you about the business each day. Because I see it in a lot of agents. I got to pump them up. I got to be their cheerleader every day to help them get there. You got to be your own cheerleader because you're the one that's with you every day, all day long. So you don't have a cheerleader you don't have a cheerleader following behind you every day. So you have to be your ultimate cheerleader. So, well, that's it for today. Dave, thank you very much for your time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Remember, reach out to me, text me, email me, instant message me if you have any questions or thoughts or future topics you'd like us to discuss. So thank you very much. Hope to see a lot of you very soon. Bye, Dave. Bye, everyone.
Okay, Tony. See you next week. Take care.